The law, as a tax-paying citizen of Nigeria, as in, I'm talking about 21 years and above, am I free to possess, hold, romance, rislarize in the comfort of my home materials such as cannabis or what people call India hemp, or maybe a little touch of LSD, maybe, but primarily I'm interested in cannabis. Am I free under the law to share some Igbo in the comfort? I'm not disturbing anybody, because other people will say, I'm smoking in public, I'm affecting them. I know that can be a thing. I don't know whether that's even lawful or not. But in the comfort of my home, am I free to smoke my Igbo? That's my question for you. But before you answer that question, I would like to remind people this is Legally Speaking, where we enlighten people about the dictates of the law and try to give insight to our audience on how to live their life in accordance with the law. Because the law do not give you the room to say you are innocent because you don't know. There's no ignorance of the law. So the law help enlighten us. Can I smoke my Igbo in the comfort of my room?
Left to me, I think everyone should be able to do whatever they please in the comfort of
the law is supporting you. Smoke Igbo.
In fact, anything you want to do, light anything, as left to me.
I remember when we were young, we used to smoke matches. I don't know whether you have ever tried that.
Paper.
Smoke paper, matches, matches.
Yeah.
Is it matches they call them? Matches. Matches. There is
Matches, yeah.
Yeah, matches. We smoke matches. So what you are saying is the same thing. Same thing.
Yeah, like people should be able to do all that. In fact, do anything. My belief is that once you have done that, do not use your behavior from its effect to influence others, to affect others, to trample on other people's rights.
Okay.
That's what I would say.
Okay, so such that you will not say the same way people used to say, "Oh, I cheat under the influence of weed or drink,
drugs,
or
alcohol.
I sexually assault somebody under the influence of alcohol, or you rape." For those people that have not watched our last episode is about rape and different context situation where you can become a rapist. So you should check it out. The link to that episode is in the description. So what you are saying is that you don't want a situation where people smoke anything and then they become an offender.
They become an offender. I don't want such situation. But what's interesting is that my opinion it does not really matter here.
So what you are saying is that legally speaking, there's something else.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which is the purpose of this show. We live in a country that has law. And the first question we would like to ask is that what does the law say about a tax-paying individual lighting up cannabis, Indian hemp, Igbo, as the case may be?
So what you are saying is that the Constitution has something to say about smoking weed. Is that?
The Constitution does not specify things like that.
So what is that?
Things like that are like trifle for the Constitution. But the Constitution states that anybody that is going to be guilty of any crime has to be guilty of a crime that is written in Nigerian law. So other statutes can ban it. And such statutes is the NDLEA Act of 1989. And the NDLEA Act, Section 11 of it, specifically prohibits not just the lighting up of it or anything, but even possession of it.
So holding Risla or Igbo for that matter is...
Yeah, just holding it. Holding it is even me pushing it. Like, you just having it in your house. You just having it in your house is enough grounds for you to be liable to imprisonment for 15 years and above. Because, of course, not up to 25 years, but between 15 years and 25 years. Like, I'm repeating it. Not just you smoking. Just you having it in your house.
In your possession.
In your possession. That when they say, who owns this? They will say you. You are liable to 15 years imprisonment under Nigerian law.
So now, let's be clear on something. When I was doing a little bit of reading here and there about law, I always have interest in law since I was growing up. So I learned about a term called malum in se and malum probitas.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm saying it even right.
Yeah.
So the idea is that Malum Insaid is things that we know to be wrong.
Exactly.
Okay? And then Malum Prohibitas is the law says it's wrong.
Therefore, it is wrong.
Wrong. So which one is this cannabis case to you?
The cannabis case is clearly Malum Prohibitas, not Malum Insaid. Malum Insaid has to be directly affecting someone else.
Okay.
Like something else about somebody else must have been trampled on.
Okay.
I think that's the issue with like our last video, rape, where we know that someone else is being affected. But in this situation,
someone's consent was being denied.
Yeah.
Someone's right was being trampled on.
In this situation where nobody is hurt, I just have it in my bedroom. I just have cannabis. Maybe I want to use it for my hair. Or
because actually, like you said before, cannabis is one of, this legal status on this subject matter is one of the reasons why I don't use cannabis. As you can see that my hair is already, maybe because I'm reading too much or something, my hair is already going in. And the reason why I'm not using any hair products is that most of the hair products that have been recommended to me, people say it contains cannabis,
Okay.
And because of that, I don't want to reach 15 years in prison. So please, I don't want to be in possession
of cannabis.
Yeah, so the case is that the law, just like statutory rape, that even with consent, the statute on it says you are still an offender. You still rape somebody. Yeah. I don't know if anyone have solved our last episode. We haven't found anyone that solve it. But if you're interested, watch the episode and give your answer on what will happen if your 14 years old son is claimed to have raped a 14 years old daughter of somebody else. Who goes to prison? Or is this that non-consent and cancel non-consent? So go back to this subject now. There's a prohibition against.
Yeah.
What are the drugs that are affected by this? Or is it only weed that we are talking about here?
Definitely not only weed.
Okay.
And I'm going to read them out actually. Laws that are
so let's read them out. Let's see some of the drugs that the law doesn't want to. Because me now, I've seen some friends of mine that they use tramadol. I don't know whether that is. I have concern about tramadol. It's a sort of painkiller. But I don't know. Is that also prohibited? People want to know. Or is paracetamol? Because I know you, for example, you are a paracetamol pusher. you take paracetamol for a living. So what are the drugs that the law don't want you to take?
So I'm going to list them now. Like they are labeled as hard drugs. So now the funny thing is that even the NDLEA Act just listed cocaine, LSDs, then it says drugs that are like that. So how do we figure out drugs that are like that? So here are the list of drugs that are like that, so that you won't be missing the point. One is cocaine. Number one here on my list is cocaine.
Okay.
Cocaine is derived from coca leaves. We know we know about cocaine. Okay. I'm sure many people here have not even seen it before. Cocaine is.
I have not seen cocaine before. He knows about cocaine. Me, I don't. Because he's saying we know about cocaine. I don't.
Cocaine is very rare actually. Not usually and it's a very, very addictive substance.
And I have heard that it's a very expensive product.
It's very expensive because it is rare. So that's cocaine. Then there's heroin.
Okay.
Then after heroin is an opioid. Like if you know about opiums, an opioid.
But what did they call cocoa? What is cocoa?
Cocoa? That's cocaine now. It's cocaine people refer to when they say cocoa most times. It's cocaine. So and then there's meth. For those who have watched Breaking Bad, you will know what meth is actually. And meth is actually banned in Nigeria also because it is a potent stimulant, methamphetamine, potent stimulant that devastates health and everything. So
what else?
Then we have cannabis.
Cannabis, the Indian hemp. I think that one is so common. I don't think it's even in the league of this kind of substance you are listing.
That's my belief also, because when we are saying that 8% of Nigerians are consuming this thing, even people that are enforcing our laws are consuming this. Are we sure we shouldn't rethink this? Or what's the effect of those that have been consuming it, even in the black market? What is the effect that it has impacted on the society that we think is so severe? I
heard that former governor of, is it Ondo State or something like that?
Ondo State, yeah.
Akeredolu.
May so rest in peace. Governor Akeredolu.
Awesome soul, rest in peace. It so became awesome this night. Do advocate that we should allow cannabis.
Yeah, and he's not alone on that because I am actually a supporter of that view. I think if we adopt support for cannabis, it will do us, it will open a market, exportation market. Nigeria has a fertile ground
for cannabis,
for producing cannabis. Thailand is an example country of this. It is one of their biggest exports.
Cannabis.
Cannabis. And that's because they legalized it. In Nigeria, farming cannabis and everything, we put you at risk of a minimum of 15 years, and you are looking at even almost 25 years imprisonment.
People used to create chocolate out of something. I don't know. Is it out of cannabis? They will create chocolate, Milo. They mix Milo with one material. Maybe
people used to mix cannabis with Milo. People even use it in beans and stuff.
Yeah, I know some people that they love their beans with
cannabis.
Cannabis, you know, they put some Igbo.
Exactly.
Ọlọ́run. Àdúrà mi Ọlọ́run jó gbà. Ọlọ́run. You know, they will put some.
We do that stuff, and I think we should just see those as antisocial behavior, of course. Just like we see people that drink alcohol excessively, we are like, why are you an alcoholic?
Because sometimes I wonder what is different between alcohol and cannabis. I don't, and we are not banning alcohol.
We are not banning alcohol, and they have similar effects. If you are telling me about health effects, alcohol has even far more significant health effects than cannabis.
That's many of them in my part, right? Yeah, you know.
Yeah, consuming alcohol is going to shorten your life. We know all these things. These data are out there in the public. And even if we leave alcohol, let's talk about cigarettes, because this is also banned. So we are going to say smokers are liable to die young on the cigarette.
That's tobacco now. Tobacco
leaf. We are going to say cigarettes are liable to die young. Smokers are liable to die young. But we are not prohibiting the smoking of cigarettes. And we don't have issue with these things. Alcohol that makes people drive recklessly, we don't have issue with this. But when it comes to cannabis, we are like, no, that's where we draw the line. And this alcohol
it's not about, maybe there are no enough lobbyists in the corridor of power pushing for cannabis.
I think there are not enough lobbyists. And then when we look at the history of this country and the history of why cannabis was banned in the first place, you might want to sympathize with the idea that we should keep it banned. Because there was a time when Nigerians were actually pushing drugs during the military era, and it was necessary for the military to act, and they had to ban because they felt like it was affecting these things. Of course, there's no sufficient evidence that the technique of criminalizing this thing reduce crimes. There's no sufficient evidence.
I just think the thing that then happens is that it doesn't give room for innovative, forward-looking, enterprising entrepreneur like myself to actually go into the market and do something. That's just the only thing that.
And that's the funny thing we're actually seeing nowadays about Canada is legal in Canada now. In some states in the US, it's legal now. Why? Because they realize that we need CBD, THC, the cannabis oil from cannabis is useful for several health reasons and everything. They realize that this is actually positive. Here we call cannabis devil's plant. And we calling cannabis devil's plant is like no good in it and everything. And that's not remotely true. Just because when people smoke it has negative effects and stuff.
I think even there's an overwhelming criminalization of people that want to do business with any of these hard drugs, especially with cannabis. I think there's one senator that was pushing for death penalty or something.
I will say should I say it's sad for me to say that just this 2024, Nigeria passed it. Nigerian Senate passed it. It was brought up. It was raised by Senator Ali Ndume, and the Nigeria passed the.
So Ali Ndume thought that 15 years in prison is not enough, or is it life in prison?
It was even life in prison for traffickers.
For drug traffickers. So the offense of being in possession is different from use?
It's different from use. It's different from trafficking. Trafficking means moving it from one country to another. Moving it from one place to another and stuff like that. So now, the man thinks that, no, people pushing Muslim, something that should be our export, if you are following my original take.
Line of thought.
My line of thought. Something that should be our export. The man is saying that life imprisonment is not sufficient. Given that when people are given life imprisonment, then they get pardon, they end up living a free life after everything, usually. But or even if there's the people, the boss name just realize that no, let's let these people go.
Has Cannabis killed his son before? Or I have a conspiracy, and I don't know. You can follow me on this. I have a conspiracy that there's a bet in the house, and that bet is that I am going to be the senator that push the least criminal offense to the realm of capital punishment. I think there's that bet that I'm going to take something very dumb, such as rape. I'm going to make it
capital punishment.
A capital punishment. And the other say, okay, you did that one with rape, Abi. I will do my own
with cannabis.
With cannabis.
Like it's different, and it's like saying, why are we going to why are we mitigating punishment for drug traffickers when this is a serious problem? And then he even use the wrong grammatical expression to say that people in other parts of this country, they are criminalizing it,
which other part?
You meant to say that in other parts of the world, and that's not remotely true.
True.
And even
someone that want to make a statement, such pointer to facts, such what do we call that fallacy? Appealing to authority or whatever. And he's saying that in other part of the country, you should know that he's talking bullock. He doesn't know what he's saying. So now, other part of the world, what we see is that people. Smart governments are becoming liberal on such things as hard drugs, and they are allowing for more, legal business in that space.
And then they are making that distinction. I remember that US.
I think some part of US even are allowing drugs such as what's it called, cannabis.
Cannabis, many states in US are beginning to legalize. Funny thing is, in US they do, even states that do not legalize cannabis, they have like Schedule 1, Schedule 2, like different levels of these drugs, and I think that is very important. But there's something wrong with laws in Nigeria where we don't have that segmentation.
Like I said, I still have a conspiracy, which is like some dumb heads are the majority of the people in the house. They don't have an idea, the faintest of idea of how to make legislation. I think that's just true.
I do not disagree with you on that one. I totally agree with you.
I think our first reading, second reading, and third reading most go like this. Okay, here's this law that we want to pass into law. This is how it was written by one secretary in the office. Okay, should we read this once? We read the second time because it's important for some people that were sleeping when we are reading the first time. And then we read the third time so that the senator president can hear it properly now. And then they sign it into law. I don't see any evidence of careful deliberation by really thoughtful, strategic lawmakers in many of the laws we have examined. Look at the rape issue. There's no case for even young ones.
Segmentation should be there.
Should be there.
Like, this type of rape is different from this type of rape. Like a rape of some people taking advantage of a girl and then beating her and then raping her should be different from two people who actually slept together, and then a few days later the girl decided that no, she decided to call it rape and stuff like that. There should be, and then there should be that of minor. There should be
Romeo and Juliet laws.
Romeo and Juliet laws.
So now on cannabis and all these hard drugs, I think there
should be segmentation. Cannabis is not on the same level with cocaine. Nowhere you want to take that to where even in the black markets, they are not sold at similar prices. So you should for you to know how
a typical boy from the trenches can buy with. Even a typical boy from the trenches today have worth like 4 wraps.
Exactly.
And that guy cannot afford, from faintest of idea, cannot afford cocaine. One touch. At
all. So these things we should know how to segment when it comes to issues. That will make us achieve justice. Because I can't see myself as a judge someone trying to tell me to put a promising young person away or even not a promising young person only, anybody away for 15 years.
Because one rap of...
He was caught with weed or something. If there's enough evidence to discredit the prosecution, most likely I will let that person go. If there is like even not too overwhelming evidence, I will most likely let that person go. Because why should you... It's going to jail for 15 years.
Yes. And now you are pushed to this on drug trafficking, there's life in prison, and then now we are pushing for death sentence. These are just bullock. What other drugs are there? Because I know some people that wanted to try LSD, and when I was doing my research, I discovered that Nigeria doesn't.
I was really interested in that. Okay, then on my list I have tramadol.
Okay.
But the thing with tramadol is that it's in doses.
Okay.
So when
so
it's
that
in,
one is in doses.
Yeah.
That means law can be made about dosage.
Exactly. Like when it is this much. Because I think the reason why I remember when the motion for the tramadol ban came about, it was because it was becoming, or was that coding? Because it was becoming disturbing. Then I remember back then when I was in Abuja, it was like a normal thing for the youth to be smoking tramadol and stuff like that. So it became a serious issue, and then they realized that let's stop allowing.
I think tramadol is a normal drug. Like
Yeah, it's
normal
a painkiller. It's
but people can overuse it.
Yeah, and that's where the problem is. So they should, once it is in this kind of dosage, that means you are not using it to cure any pain. You are just using it because they can. And if you have used painkillers before, you know how addictive painkillers can be. So now, like paracetamol. So now that you know how addictive painkillers can be, you can understand why they say when it is in this level of dosage, no, this person is not using it properly. So we can be so reasonable about things like that. Why can't we be equally reasonable with other?
And in a sense, I get something like rape, right? I get something like even murder. Right? I believe murder, any form of death, is an execution of value. You know, I get things like rape, like you are denying somebody consent and you're imparting on them something that is a trauma that can be with them for a lifetime. But for things such as drug, if you did not drink, if we criminalize something like drunk driving, right, which is clear that is after you drink is not the crime, but when you drive after drinking is the crime. I still don't get it for drugs per se.
Generally.
Yeah, what are we really criticizing? Is it because we just hate to see people that get high and enter the holy place?
I feel like there are some drugs that are actually very damaging, to be honest. Like, and
damaging to themselves or to
others. Like when people consume them, they are like in the same level as insane, mad. They start destroying things around them.
But we can criminalize them for destroying things.
I think that would be a great strategy actually too. So rather than criminalizing the drug itself,
you get high.
Yeah,
we get high on sex. I don't know whether you have had really amazing sex session before.
Another thing,
your eyes will become thin. The other day, one girl was looking at me and said, "Maybe am I on drink?" I was like, "I don't drink." For the last 20 years of my life, or 10 years of my life, I rarely touch alcohol for any. I was like, maybe I get it because I just had a great section. A great section. Editor, let them understand the section that I'm talking about. So, but we get high on things. So, is there a problem to get high, or that we don't want people to get high, or what is it? People get angry, and we don't criminalize anger.
Yeah. But I think,
of course, if that person destroy public property or destroy personal property, there can be a civil case or there can be a public criminalization of that person. But it's not on the same level as, you put on some drug. What? Hallelujah! You're in 7 heavens. What's my problem? What's your problem with that?
No, I feel like if there are drugs that actually cause permanent brain damage, for instance, I think the government is responsible for protecting their citizens from.
Where permanent brain damage is close to suicide, like you want to kill yourself.
And that's like the end effect of drugs like cocaine and coke. I think that's what separates them mostly from things like cannabis and even codeine
and even tramadol. Now, tramadol is considered a hard drug on a high dose, which is like on a normal day you can take. So I think that should be the same form of legislation we put on some of these other drugs.
Some of these other drugs. Ecstasy is another one.
Okay.
It's usually used as a party drug, and it's usually abused recreationally. It's called MDMA. People that know it looks like a Tesla pill like this. It's like a pill like this, like a small pill. I have seen that before. You might not even know. I
don't see evil. I don't drink evil.
You might not even know until they actually maybe slip it in your drink or give you, or if you are somebody that is prone to drugs, so you will end up taking such.
But what else do we have with that list?
We have amphetamines, and these are synthetic stimulants that are widely abused, particularly among young youth, among young people. Then we have codeine-based cough syrups.
Okay, some cough syrups are
also in high dosage.
Okay.
So when consumed in quantities that lead to addiction, they are, or other STDs, they are classified as hard drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's fentanyl, the synthetic opioid. We must have heard a lot about fentanyl because it's destroying America recently.
Okay.
Like destroying America seriously. And I don't know how much is destroying Nigeria because we don't really have that much data on stuff like that. But and then I'm sure it's harder to get something like that in Nigeria because it's important.
I heard that 8% of Nigeria consume cannabis. Is that, do you agree with that remotely?
I feel like if you actually live around people, you will realize that it's possibly more than that.
That's what I'm thinking too.
I think it's very likely more than that. Very likely more than...
Some people they don't smoke it. They like it with beans. Some people don't like it. They like it with their F4. Some people don't like it. They like it. They just mix it. There's many mixing going on. Some people even cook it with rice.
Yeah. So if it's so proliferated recently that because I'm sure I personally know people that I know personally who are actually smoking, who are actually into weed, taking weed in different forms. Now,
I don't think that will be 80%.
It can never be 8%. It can
We
never
lack
be
data
8%.
in this country.
It can never be 8%. But that's the
Any
thing.
other drug that is considered
There's
as hard?
LSD. And
Okay.
I would love to talk about this one because I was considering trying out psychedelics. Because I was hearing that these things have a kind of effect that can...
Euphoria effect that takes you
that opens your mind to places you have never
celestial
seen
beings.
it before and stuff. So I'm like, okay, maybe I should give it a try. But what ended up changing my mind was that a popular... maybe I should mention his name, Jordan Peterson.
one of the big proponents.
who talks about it a lot.
A lot about you trying.
And then I ran into an interview of him saying he has not tried psychedelics. I was like, why are you now
pushing
why
it?
not telling us about its beautiful effects and everything if you have not tried it yourself?
Okay.
And I was considering actually trying it if I get that. I don't even know that it is illegal in Nigeria.
I saw his Facebook post today. He said, truth is the something of courage, the source of courage or something like that. I was like, you to tell some truth. Stop boundary some things. That you are talking about LSD and you have not taken it before. How is that constitute truth? You know, I don't know. So you know, I think I'm not even intending to take it before, but for those people people like John that were considering it, please, under the law, you are not allowed to.
Illegal. Maybe you should leave Nigeria if you want to try it. Go to a country where you can confirm that their law allows you to try it and then do it. And then finally, here is crack cocaine. It is a smokable form of cocaine.
Okay.
That is even more addictive and more dangerous than powdered cocaine.
Okay, all these things that old people used to smoke. Is that one?
Tobacco.
Yeah.
Tobacco
okay,
is
it's
not,
tobacco.
Tobacco is not.
Okay.
It is not.
So, what would you advise a typical young Nigeria? Because I notice many youth, they go around having weed in their car.
Yeah, that's like they don't know the implication. I think it's because Nigeria has cracked down very much on those laws. Actually, if not, many people will just be spending the rest of their life in jail anyhow. Just be wasting their years in jail. The way people actually smoke with so much impunity, like if you notice people just walk around smoking weed, not cigarettes, like in public, just going around. I would be like, these are things I used to go and do in bushes before. But when you realize that the law is so broken that even police officers are found
they
smoking weed, so who will now arrest you when the people that are going to arrest you are also smoking weed? So
and I think that's why it is time for the government to actually profit from this thing. Because even the law enforcement, when the law enforcement don't see a crime as a crime, then what are we enforcing really?
We are not enforcing anything. We are just wasting our time.
So really, if someone is being in prison for ODing or smoking cannabis in today's Nigerian reality, what we mean is some form of witch hunting. Maybe that Yahoo boy did not give that police officer money
and then
for other reasons. And then the police officer wants to use that one to punish him.
Exactly.
Or something like that. I barely see police officers that even find the cannabis things as a crime.
It's so proliferated nowadays that they don't even... It's just like normal.
So now, you as a legal mind, what will be your advice for people on the other side of this camera that are watching this right now? How do we want them to interact with these things? As long as we currently don't have people, they don't want us to do the business of it. They even promise to kill us. Because if you do the business of it, you are a criminal, and you should be killed. It's not even life imprisonment because you cannot be wasting the taxpayer money surviving in one custody somewhere, you should be killed. Now, we cancel that one out because I'm afraid for my life. I don't know if you are. Then the people that are smoking it, what's your advice? Because I know people that are smoking weed and they will not stop. What do you advise them to do?
As if I say minister in the temple of justice, I think number one thing is I'd always advise is not to break the law.
Yeah.
Do not break the law. Like, do not find yourself in possession of cannabis.
Don't find yourself in possession of cannabis.
Don't make people frame you for it or anything. Just stay away from such things. I've never been in possession of cannabis. I've never consumed it. I have never been in the same. I don't even like being in the same place with people that are, because I know what it means.
It's 15 years. That's what it means.
You are playing with 15 years. So be careful. Do not, if you have friends that are smoking, stay away from them. That are going to put you in trouble. Because you can easily get framed with this. You might think, oh, like we said, that police are smoking and everything. And then someone will have you in mind to, or you might be very misfortunate. And so please don't even put yourself in such situation. That's my advice for you. Don't stay away from hard drugs generally.
Anything the government consider as hard drugs.
Anything that is considered as hard drugs.
Because it can be used against you.
There are some that we don't even know the names you guys call them. But because I don't even know which position we are going to put Colos.
That's true. On Colos. On
Colorado.
Yeah.
I don't know which position.
There's one they call pipe. They call smoke pipe.
You see,
there's one they call pineapple. You smoke pineapple. That one is made from pawpaw. I think that's what they call it.
Okay, that's what they call pawpaw. Yeah, I remember a guy that said he smokes pawpaw.
Pawpaw.
So there are many we don't even know their names and everything. You just know them because you know they are hard drugs. So stay away from them entirely or anything that will implicate
because
you.
The law is so open. I can see that gap there. I don't know whether you notice, which is like any drugs that look like.
Yeah.
So really, the point is that in the court, if the prosecuting attorney can, establish that what you took look like or feels like or has the same effect in the category of
these drugs, you are going to be. And the interesting part is that people that are actually involved in these things, they know that it is wrong. So be careful. I just want to direct this to people that are moving with weed smokers and everything. They will frame you. I remember that there was a guy that actually used the president of the United States, is like the fact that he knows president, to use him to traffic drugs because he was carrying, I think he was traveling from Canada to US and the president was, and then he has a good relationship with the president and he was like, the president should help him hold his luggage and the president, because nobody checks the president's luggage at the...
When was that?
Name. I hate the fact that I can't remember his name exactly. But it's either Eisenhower or that was the president then. I think it was probably Eisenhower. So it was a very funny situation where the guy used the president of the United States to move
stuffs,
weed into the United States. And then he got his luggage back from the president and... that was it. If the editor can help me find out the name of the man, it should be on the screen.
Editor, please put it
and
on screen.
The entire situation it's a very funny situation. So these people know what's wrong. So they can actually put it in your care. And then you just be like, how did they find me in possession? You were moving with... And
in possession does not mean... what is it called? Possession is possession because there's a case. I think there's a case on it.
Chukwemeka, what's the name of the guy?
Possession is, you don't care whether your intent look like really. Once you are in possession, you are in possession. You have knowledge of holding something.
Chukwudi Ugwanyi versus Federal Republic of Nigeria. His case was started from a trial court. They moved to an appeal court and then even to the Supreme Court. And the judgment that is going to serve 15 years imprisonment still held, even at the Supreme Court level. So, and what happened was that he was in a truck and everybody was told to come down, that NDLA wanted to search in Sokoto. And when they checked the luggages of everybody, they checked his own luggage and they found weed and they tested it was weed and everything, and that was the case. Now, how do we establish that he knowingly was in possession? No, that's going to be hard for you to prove that you were not knowingly in possession of it. So don't even be in possession of it.
Don't let them find you.
Let them find you in possession.
And then my own advice as a strategy to the federal government is that consider making all these over-criminalization, because even in 2024, the Senate were sitting down to even make taking it from life imprisonment to
death sentence
to capital punishment ridiculous. So I will say the federal government and everyone that coming across this content kindly consider cannabis, at least if not anything else, as a viable business option in Nigeria. Many advanced countries of the world are already opening this door, and I think this is time for our own government to open this door, especially the fact that we are no longer that big with oil export. We are no longer that strong with agriculture, and we are on debt. Remember, debt servicing is taking majority part of our budget. So it is time for us to open another business theory, especially the one that our lands, we have arable lands. No, mind you, arable lands that can grow and facilitate this weed called cannabis. We see you in the next episode. This has been Legally Speaking. My name is Elon Jobs, legally known as Olajide Timileyin Abiodun. And
I'm Bill Tracy.
So we will see you in the next episode. If you love content like this, consider to watch more by going through, clicking here. And then short segments will be available here. I'll see you in the next one.